republic. The Constitution was the trust indenture. It's the rules by which the public officials, the public servants, the trustees, have to uphold the rules and obligations of the Constitution. But what happened in 1871 is that they rolled in, because all wars are banker wars, so it's all controlled by the 1% global elite. They funded both sides of the war, and they created a civil war. And during that time, they bullied out all of our members of our republics and all of the 35 states that had formed republics at the time in 1871. So you had a governor, a lieutenant governor, secretary of state, a treasurer, House and Senate for every single state. All of them vacated. And when they came back 7 years later, they came back as a corporation. So they changed the foundation of our country. And all they can do is lure your attention over here, because when the key word there is vacated. Those republics are still standing because a trust cannot fail for lack of a trustee. Trusts never die. That's why when Trump restored the republic at the national level, now remember, we only formed a union to protect against foreign invasion. So we had only given power to the union to protect us against foreign invasion. Because what would happen if Great Britain came and took over Delaware, and then we're all screwed? Does that make sense? We had to protect all the states in the union. So they were just wrapped in a bubble. But see, Trump has limited power. Even if he restored the republic, his limited power. So what I want everyone to realize is that you're now looking at two governments. You have two governments running. You have a de facto, which means fake, non-fact, de facto, devoid of fact. Fake, phony, false corporatocracy running your government. They're not even your government. They're just luring your attention. You never had a vote, guys. You never had. Do you have a vote for McDonald's?
No.
Can you go to McDonald's and ask them to save you from the border? No, because their number one job as a fake government is to keep you pacified.
Right.
Oh, that's not non-issue.
And that's how they use the MSM.
That's how they do it. And so they keep you pacified. They control your attention, focusing you all over here, and don't focus here. But as soon as you start focusing where you're supposed to focus.
Distraction. Yep.
The second you stop watching the fake news, guys, and we start shining light on the real news and the real republic, you're going to have a completely different reality. Because none of these people are legitimate. So now you have a republic sitting over here. So we call it de facto versus de jure. De facto means they've never signed oaths of office to us. So why are we giving control to anybody who's never signed an oath to the republic? De jure means real, means true. It means you've signed an oath to us. You're actually a public servant. And I can tell you about a few de jure sheriffs that are making massive ripples. And I can also tell you people that have stood up their republics.
What's your thought?
And they're holding out of necessity. You have to hold that back up the republic and behold yourself as a volunteer in position in the republic until a fair and safe election can be held. That's what it says in our Constitution to do. When you've been usurped, when you've been in a foreign insurrection, you have to. We are derelict of our duty, Nino, if we don't take back our governments. If we don't take back every city, county, and state.
I agree with you, but I just had Sheriff Mack on, and I've had another gentleman on about. He was a sheriff of the Republic of Texas, actually. His name escapes me just for a second. But what's your thoughts on the sheriffs going to Washington, D.C. to be briefed by the FBI, basically being federalized, in my opinion? What's your thoughts on that? I mean, this is dangerous.
It's very dangerous, and it's extremely concerning because one of the main things 107 is talking about, you guys, is that right now, what happened after they took over our country is they took over every police precinct. So you're talking 18,000 police precincts. Now, and they took over every court. So you got 687 courts that are now all maritime. They're all money changers. They're not operating, as you would think, in common law. So what they did was they taught us only maritime down here. They didn't teach us common law, and they didn't teach us trust law. So all the truthers out there, everyone out there who's got podcasts, anyone's listening today, this year is the year of disclosure with regard to common law, because that's where we have all of our power. That's where we're in the land of the living. We're in the law of the land. Okay. Now, when they took over our government in 1871, they took over the police, the precincts, the jails, the courts, but they also took over all of the CPS, the foster care. They took over the banks. They took over just everything. So it became an insurrection. It became like almost a cancer that grew. So you have 18,000 police precincts right now that are all de facto, but you can launch a de jure one right next door. Serve the police, let them know they're working for the wrong people.
Wow.
Because here's the thing. And then you can move them over to the de jure by giving them that opportunity to cure. Sign an oath to we the people and we'll let you go. So basically, we can't be giving sheriffs any power if they haven't signed an oath to us. So I don't give a crap what anyone's telling them to do. They don't work for us. We have to stop giving them power. If they haven't
Correct.
signed a note to
Yeah.
you, you shouldn't assume they
Well,
have
they
any
should be
power.
upholding the Constitution first and foremost, though, correct?
Right. Well, so why do you think the devil would come over and take over as corporations?
To usurp it all.
Okay. Well, under the Republic, we were dependent, or we knew that we had to have a Bill of Rights, which would block the government from being able to create laws. Only we, the people, can create laws.
Right.
And that comes all the way down from the Magna Carta, which was adopted by 52 countries. So, what they did when they brought in a corporation, when you build a corporation, you get to write all the rules, right? Because you created it, you control
Right.
it. So at McDonald's,
Right.
you can write all the rules. So all they did was they started rewriting rules. They started rewriting laws. They started creating fake, phony, false, everything shit made up, bills, statutes, laws, all these things, they're all made up. And so long as the people corral and do as they say, then those laws must be
This
real.
makes sense because then with all of this going on, it makes sense. The bread and circus, the MSM, the bread and circus, which is now what you were saying, you need at least 50,000 strong men to really pick up the reins and move forward. And it's like, they're all watching Monday Night Football. They're all watching WWE. They're all watching boxing. They're watching UFC. That's where they are distracted. That's what they're paying attention to, not knowing what's really going on.
Yeah. The
Correct.
whole
And that's all
time
by
they're stealing
design.
your country from you and they're stealing every last freedom and they're getting you totally dependent on their benefits. And you're over here just, sitting, shit and chill thinking
So
you've got freedom until there's a fake flu.
So you're going to create a presentation soon, correct? Can I say that?
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to teach the people
You're going
about
to teach
common
people
law.
how to
I'm
do
going to teach
this.
you how to stand in your power, because what we did with Maricopa County is we basically served them a notice of personal liability. Because if I hired you to work for McDonald's and I asked you to rob a bank, who do you think is liable?
Me.
You. And that's the
Yeah.
thing about this devil's army is 99.999% of them don't even know they work for the devil. Because
Right.
when you take over as a corporation, you can now acquire any third letter agency. You can acquire every media company. You can acquire every technocracy. You can acquire every police precinct without anyone knowing it, because you don't have to share your books. You're a corporation.
And it just seems like it's just so late in the game that everyone's waking up. It's
But you
to
see
me,
how
it's like,
smart they were. You see how
yes,
smart the
very
Rothschilds were.
smart.
They kept all this trust information from us. They locked us out of all this information. They hid it all from Google. How are we even supposed to know, really? How
Right.
would we have known until we did this worldwide audit?
Right.
You know
And
what I'm
it's not
saying?
until really Trump took presidency that people started waking up and saying, oh, wait a minute here, something's wrong. Then
Yeah.
they started paying attention. So he was the great exposer.
He
Basically,
also put all countries in check. How did he do that? How did he do that? Did you watch how he got every country to capitulate?
yeah, well, he went and visited every country. I know that, but you might want to school me on this one.
He laid down all the facts we had on him. He laid down all the facts on all their horrible acts against humanity and said, you work for us now. You're coming on our board. You're going to make a deal now. And he
Right.
got
Okay.
Saudi Arabia to capitulate. Then he went, the
He let them
Vatican,
know we had their
G7.
dirt.
What?
He let them know that we had everything on them, that we had their dirt.
He served them. He took
Wow.
offense. He
Wow.
put them in
Okay.
check. That's what we're going to do now. Worldwide, we're all
Hold
putting
on.
them in check. This is checkmate. You have to red pill, hard pill every person that's locked up in the system and let them know they're personally liable for their
Show the
actions.
video. I want everyone to see this video. Go ahead and share the screen. Make sure you share the sound. You know how to do that.
Okay.
So, yeah, share the sound and the screen.